So, welcome to part 4. Sorry for a slight delay, if anyone was waiting already. Everything is a bit chaotic right now, but we will manage. A couple of things happened since we stopped last time. Firstly, I ordered some extra parts, which is what you see here. I already used up some of the screws. So basically, I ordered M5 by 12s. Which are now used in the extensions back and front. And that basically allowed me to extract some of the M5 by 10s, which was a screw we needed for the X-axis and we did not have anymore. Because basically the hardware kit I got was for the revision 1 of the Enderwire, and we're building revision 2, so it doesn't quite fit. But yeah, so that was the easy fix. That was like 3-4 euros for like 20, I think. So it was not too bad. I also ordered a whole pack of M3 by 8s. Actually, don't know how many that are, but I guess like 50-ish. So we should also not run short on those anymore. And heated inserts. This Voron standard M3 by 4 by 5. 100 pieces. So also here we were running low on those. Hopefully that should fix it. Yeah, then I have some printed fun stuff here. So firstly, last time we had the issue, or we discovered the issue that the cables of the bed were way too short. By way, I mean like that much. So they wouldn't even reach under the deck. So I designed this thing here that replaces the original drag chain mount, basically. Just goes under the bed, and now we have the Wago clamps here. So basically, like we have the ground and 24 volt for the heater bed, and then we have like for the thermistor the JST plugs here. It doesn't focus at all. But yeah, so that's basically below the bed now. So we can directly plug in the bed, and then the extension cables will run under the bed through the cable chain and then under deck. So yeah, that's a fun new part. But then I was also starting to think of how do we manage the cables under deck a bit. And I'll show it in a second, but I basically created a cable channel. This finished 5 minutes ago. So that basically comes together like this, and then there's like the third part. It's just a mirror. I already tested that. So this will basically run from left to right through the printer on top of the beam, or like the aluminum extrusion that holds the two sides of the ender together. So you can just like put cables in. We need to remove this bridging here a bit. It's very. I just use this like bridging here because this is like hollow, basically, just to hold it up a little bit nicer. And then yeah, there's just a cover on top, and then the bottom panel just holds this down, basically. So we can put all our cables in here, organize it a little bit. So that is, I think, a good addition to our cable management. So yeah, that's that. And then what I started like just now, that's why I was a bit late. Oh crap, 1 second. I was just looking at the printer. This doesn't look like something good. Hi, Alex. Do you see the webcam? What the hell just happened here? Let me quickly fix that. 1 second. I'm right back. Okay, this is very interesting. I'll show it in a second. I have no clue what just happened. I just started a new print, and we still need this. Let me try it again. Ah, remember the stupid filament sensor that does stupid things? It does stupid things again, but I'm not quite sure if that was the cause. Like, it just pooped out this massive amount of plastic in like between when I started the stream and when I saw it. That's a first. I call this art. This is like a solid blob of ABS. What the hell? Okay, so what I wanted to say, I was looking at those parts here, and I don't like the surface quality. And because they're like completely visible from the front, I decided to reprint those too quickly. So while we take care of the bat, this can reprint. I just reprint the front parts also for the top. Yeah, and the stupid filament sensor, let me just make triple sure that it's like, I mean, now it doesn't do anything because it's preheating at the moment, but let's keep an eye on it. I want to remove it from my config because I don't have the time, or I'm not taking the time to check out what's actually the issue there. But then like it just causes like random weird issues all the time, which is super annoying. I actually heard from one person that it's seemingly the Omron switch. So the Omron switch basically caused the issue, or like for that person, the Omron switch caused the issue from the LEO kit. And they replaced the switch with like a generic AliExpress super cheap switch, like the same like model, but like just like not the Omron one. And seemingly that solved all issues. So maybe I just try that as well. But I have to order then the switch. I think what happened here is like that it detected, or like it lost the filament and then detects the filament, and that triggers my filament load routine. So basically it's like constantly loaded filament. And every time it does that, it poops out like 5 centimeter of filament. Okay. Well, luckily I saw it. Otherwise I would have done that for like an hour or something. Also one way to waste a roll of filament. So, okay, kind of lost my track here. So what I wanted to say is, or what we will do, like what our plan is, we will first install the new drag chain. I was looking for those, they were like sticking here. The new drag chain mount. So basically this is now the Wago switches and the JST connectors. And we'll basically just go here, and like there's a original one still there. So this will replace that. And then we can plug in the cables from the back basically. And then the extension cable will go through the cable chain and then under deck. That's kind of the idea. So I guess let's just take this all apart. I must admit, I already did a quick test fit, just to make sure everything fits nicely together. I still wanted to like assemble it on stream. That's why it's like partly assembled. We still have to put in some heated inserts for the cable chain. That starts great. Here we go. So. Green. So that's the original one, and basically this is the replacement. That's how they're like oriented thing. So basically it's just like I extended it to the back and added those Wago connectors and the JST mounts here. The JST will just be like connected via cable on the back, so we have to solder that actually. I totally forgot about that. And here we have to put in the 3 heated inserts. So I would say let's start with those. And then let's solder the JST connectors. And then we can mount that basically. Let me just quickly demonstrate this. So this goes here then in the end. And this little hook part basically just hooks onto the base plate. And just gives it like stability on the back. And then right here we now have the Wago connectors. So I think that will work out pretty well. So from the bed, cables come out here and then go through this like little whole loop thingy here and then directly to the connectors. So it will be all nice and tidy, I hope. Okay, and then let's quickly take care of the heated inserts. I'm also like looking at the printer that's not doing weird stuff again. Still heating, like 2 degrees left. Okay, yeah, I already turned on the soldering iron. Let's quickly try to get the old ones out. I guess. Oh, that was not smart. Oh. Let me just. Oh. Let me see that the filament runout sensor is disabled. There's a little gunk on the nozzle. Okay. I have to quickly tend to the printer. There's a bit of gunk on the nozzle I quickly want to remove. And then I guess we can just let it print. 1 second. Perfect. So that is printing. Let me quickly see if I can remove that. Can I just make that? You can have it. Have it here in view. So then, where are we? Let's directly transfer that one by one. Thanks for dropping by, Alex. Have fun on the CCT camp. Or is it CC camp? There was one C too many. Oh. That looks good. I think that was not in frame, but hey. I quickly pull out the last two. We can reuse them maybe. Or like not maybe, we will reuse them, of course. Okay, perfect. So that is basically for the drag chain to mount on too. Then I guess the next step would be to hook up those two JST connectors. One thing I of course did not put here is any cable, but I guess we can just recycle a few we still have. I guess it doesn't really matter color-wise. Yeah, we will not need any of this anymore. Let me just quickly rip everything out. I guess we can just use this one, is short already enough. So basically, the idea is basically just have this like soldered to the back of the connector, and then like the cable just loops around. I guess we don't need a lot of cable. So just to have a bit, it shouldn't be too long, right? So something in this length should be plenty. And then the other one. So the other one slightly longer. So then the shorter one would be the inner run, and the longer one would be. Also makes no sense because we need to connect left, left, and right, right. I mean, it's a temperature sensor, so it doesn't really matter, but let's keep it straight. Okay. So quickly need to change the tip on here. I put the pliers back to where they belong. So of course don't have them. Let's just use the big tip. Okay. Let's put it to soldering temperature. So I didn't use the soldering stuff for quite some time, so it's like all at the back. I guess we can just pre-tin the wires quickly, and then just solder both on one. And then solder both on the other. Also make sure that they're actually same length. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. So let's see if it's already hot. It should be. Oh, I'm out of frame again. So perfect. So they're all pre-tinned. Let's just put a tiny bit of tin on the connector as well. Just get this a little bit closer to me. Perfect. Let's quickly do this one first. I don't know where I put my tweezers. Like everything is gone today. They would be very handy right now. Just use a I just get rid of some of those solder. Is there so much now? Oh, Yeah, okay. Well, that connector is gone. What did it? Not quite sure what it just did now, but that did not work. Let me try the second one. So we need to be quicker here. Oh, I'm pushing against it with the soldering iron. And of course, the plastic melts quite quickly. Yeah, that should already be good enough. Like there's no like movement or stress on the cable, so it should be good enough. Quickly get a replacement for the broken one. And so yeah, they basically go over cross, so that the left one is connected to the left one. Maybe put this like more vertical, then I can like tap it from the back. This one goes to the bottom one. Okay, one. And two. Perfect. And that's all the soldering we need to do for now. Let's see if that works out as I intended it. Yeah, well, it looks good. Cable doesn't really like poke out there. I wonder, like, I mean, how this is assembled, right? There's like this vertical section here is one part, and this top section is another part, and I have two screws right here that basically screw it together. And those connectors now cover up the screws. I think I still want to like add a dab of super glue, just to be sure that when I pull on the plug, basically that the socket doesn't come out. Will make it impossible. Like you can always like break them out or something. But I think it's good to add a dab of super glue. It's also the other things like the Wago connectors come on top. And I need to change design here a bit, because if you pull them, like the connector is not super, like it doesn't come out, but it's not really secure. So I think what I should do is I just put a tab of super glue like across the connector, and then the Wago is kind of glued to that, and the connector is also like glued in place. Let's make sure that that looks all connected and good. Quick tuck test. Yeah. Let me quickly grab my my super glue. Oh. Uh-oh. I think I super glued the super glue. Well. That sucks. Do I have something? I'm not sure if that will work. Let me see if that works. See it coming that like I squeezed the super glue all over the place. Okay, but I guess that's... I guess we don't use super glue. Well, too bad. I kind of want to. I mean, I could cut it open, but this would be like a massive mess. One last use of this. Not sure if this is the intended way to open it. Of course, I now have super glue all over my hands. But I guess this was clear from the start. Ugh. How to make a mess. Okay, let's quickly put the Wago connectors on top, and then I have to clean up very quickly. Where's the second one? Oh, interesting. Okay, we're learning. If too much super glue, like this is hot. We put it to the side. Where's the Wago? There's the Wago. It's like, you know, like one of those things, like you have a bad idea, you know it's bad, and it turns out bad. Let me quickly trash all the super glue. 1 second. So, one bad idea later. It's not too bad. I only have a bit of super glue here and there. I hate super glue, but I also like, I was like really asking for it right now. Okay, cool. Then this is assembled. I guess we can put it on the bed. Let me quickly get rid of the super glue here. It's like what I learned, like this is the fastest way to get rid of super glue. At least for me. Just file it off. Yeah. Good enough for now. So, some manicure later. Let's forget this happened and move on. This side of the cutting mat is like really messed up by now. Like there's also like super dark stains because I was like, oh, I actually mentioned it. So last stream I kind of like mentioned that I wanted to replace the bed, but I actually ended up, oh see, more super glue now. I actually ended up sanding it down. So this is now really flat. What I did is I used the glass plate I also used to like square frames and just put it down. And I put like a piece of sandpaper flat on. And I just made a crisscross pattern on the bed. And then I turned over and sanded it until the entire crisscross pattern was gone. And I mean, I can't really see it, I guess, on camera, but there's no gap. Like this is super straight, super flat now, which is really cool. So I decided against doing that, and I also pulled off all the nasty cork we had here. And then I remembered why I put on the cork in the first place. Like, it isolates, of course, the heated bed, so it heats up quicker. But there were also some damages in the black coating, so the aluminum traces kind of like shine through here. What I did now is I put Captain tape, like small piece of Captain tape wherever I saw like copper shining through. So yeah, that looks a bit messy, but nobody will see it. And this is flat, so I hope it stays flat once it's heated up. That would be a shame if it like warps or something in unpredicted ways. But I think this is like the best version of Enderbed I ever had. So yeah, let's get it all mounted and built. So let's start with still have super glue. That's interesting. Like, I mean, it makes sense. The glue gets hot when it dries because like I had this like massive blob of super glue now, right? And it was really, really warm. It's the same like concrete is heating up like when it's like drying. That's why you can get burns if you get stuck in concrete, like it can burn your skin. I wonder would it make sense to already like pull through the cables through the chain now? I guess that's easier than doing it later when everything is in place. I have this like run of wire here, which I wanted to recycle. Wonder, no, the connector is too big, so we have to cut it first. Let's quickly do that. Just, I'm not sure if I want to like recycle the connector or not. Quite painful to solder those. I really hope this is long enough. It's like a meter. Just quickly push them through from behind. Also open up the cable chain, but I hope I can get through without doing that. Okay. Let's quickly open it. And let's also get it off. Then, because you also have to put the wire for the temperature sensor through. And then my idea was to already mount the main boards, just so we know like how much cable we need, and then kind of route it through. Pretty safe those screws. Do we have something to just use the this side? Oh, that's not my day. Okay, we lost. Oh, I'm putting on the wrong side. Huh? No, lost the right side. Okay, I think I need some flathead screwdriver because it doesn't work. Let's see. Let's see. Much easier. So we lost one of the things, but I'm not sure where it jumped to. So, and let's put. I'll leave the end on for now, so we can cut the cable to length. So then just park it on the side. And we need a cable for the sensor. Can you see? I don't see where that jumped to. Weird. Okay. We need a cable there. I have this like very messy box with parts we still have to spare. We have this cable. These are the cables I got for the printer. I think the red one came with the stealth burner kit. That's the thinnest of the cables I have here. Like those are meant for the hotend. I would just go with the red one now. The thinnest. So we have. Is this pre-cut? No, it's not. Let's see. It's also kind of like have that in a similar length. Something like that. Something like that. Perfect. Then this is our temperature sensor cable. Maybe we can use the red one for all the temperature sensors or sensors in general. Then it's kind of like consistent, which would be nice. Like looking at the cable, I wonder whether I have enough cable. Because we need to do a couple, like quite a lot of runs from the tool head to the board. So let's quickly crimp a connector on here. That will also be tons of fun because we have to crimp all the connectors. Okay, let me see. We need. I only crimp one side for now, but we also need to crimp the one for coming from the bed. So we need two, and I can never remember. XT is the larger one. So we need to crimp that here, and we need to crimp on those white ones. Let's do the red ones first and check the length of this cable. I think it's kind of the right length. Yeah, let's just crimp that right away, I think. Let's check first. Let's crimp one, and then we can mount everything, and then we see how long the white ones need to be. Let's see if it's a good or a bad crimping day. I think last time put it on like this first. And then we crimp it. It should be fine. I really hate those like PTFE cables, like they're so slippery. It's like really hard to work with. Let me actually crimp that second time with the smallest one. Those cables are quite thin. Want to have proper grip here. Perfect. So it's one of the two connectors crimped. Then this is the end. Oh, I just realized. Good, I realize now. I have a little cable loop. Like just a little cable loop here. And the connector most likely does not fit through exactly. So I need to. Oh, I'm screwed up a bit with the cable length. Well, it's a bit longer. But yeah, I have to put those through here because I didn't add a little like gap. Okay, yeah, see, that's now the end. And perfect. Okay, so tack test number 2 failed. Okay, so we must not crimp them with the smallest setting. Lesson learned. So they just broke off basically at the crimping point. So it was crimped too tightly. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. So yeah, I'll recycle that connector, but I'll get them off later. Okay. Yeah. Back to start, I guess. Let's just make sure we have a clean cut. I mean, crimping is fun. Could be worse. Could be worse. Okay. One. Nope. It's not properly in. Yeah, let me do it again. The cables, like the strains were not in the right spot. Okay. Oops. There's one cable. See, can I? Bend this open again. Let me just grab a new one. Let's see. Okay. Let's crimp that. Yeah, those cables are really slippery. Okay, perfect. Let's try again. One side. And the second side. So they are locked in. Quickly put them through the loop. And then we can put them through the chain. And out the other side. Perfect. Oops. Stay open, please. And this one we lost. I have no clue where it's jumped. Where it's jumped to. Most likely find it like tomorrow or something. In case I add it. But I guess it's not super critical to have. Okay, let's see. I guess we can mount the cable chain here already. Let that loose for now, and then we can set up everything here. Let me see if I turn the printer around. Maybe give you a little bit of an angle from here. You can see a bit more what's going on. So many cables. See here, there's this little loop, and that doesn't go through there. And these cable basically also have to go through here. I'll have like I'll add little like cutout here in the design so that you can get a cable through with the connector on already. And basically back here are the Wagos. And then we are already where we need to be. So the only thing we now need to do is like fiddle in those screws here, which will be tremendous fun. It would have been smarter to do that first, but it would have been more difficult to get the cable through. So it's, I guess, one of those choose your poison situations. Okay, maybe if we have the thick cables first, just like bent back, and we can work with the screws here. And we also God. That is a bit fiddly. Okay, let's see if we get that. That's the first one. I hope. Why doesn't it? It's super annoying, like with the cables in there. For some reason it doesn't grab the insert. I think it's just like my inability to align it. Yeah, yeah, it works. Let's try again. I mean, we could also. Awesome. Just want to say we can also just not have that mounted. That would also tremendously help. I always like do that in these things in the most awkward way sometimes. Like, I mean, there's no need for me to have that mounted here. I can just, do that here. Top down. No problems. So, and the last one. I do not fully tighten them yet. The chain can, I mean, we can make sure it's straight and tighten it. I guess it's fine. Let's just tighten that. Perfect. And then this goes through here. This goes through here too. So, then let's quickly. Oops. This looks like 11 millimeters. Just twist it a little bit. And I guess we can just put that in. Yeah. It's way smarter to do this first and then like just mount it. Now we can just pull back a bit. Let's plug this in already. Last tuck test, that's okay. Perfect. And now we have like our cable chain with the cables. One last thing we need to do now. Somewhere in my very messy box here, I have cable ties. There's like this little cable tie loop here where we want to fixate the cable so that they don't move basically and strain the connectors on the back. Just make sure that there's like a little bit of like nice loop that's like not super tight. And then we can just push it down. Yeah, the PTV cables are still a little bit like sliding around. Perfect. And then this can go back on the printer. Yeah, that's definitely like the way to do it. The nice thing is now, right, like you can swap the bed and you only have to access it from the back. You never have to go get back there. And then here we have the counterpart. Let's just. Does the connector fit? No. Also snip that off. And then that goes, I just push it under deck for now. The bottom panel is on, so it's just like isolated inside. I wonder whether this was long enough. It should be. Still quite a lot of cable around there. And the nice thing is, right, we can choose the main board. We can choose the main board that has to deal with the temperature sensor. So it can be the one that's closer to this opening here. Let's maybe turn it around. Perfect. Same problem here, but here, because the screw is below, under the cable chain, we actually have to get the screws in. Focus on that. Yeah, that will be fun. Okay, that's number one. And number two. Last one. I think that's it. This one doesn't want to go in. I think I'm pushing it a little bit from. It's a bit odd, like it's the Allen key is just too long. Let's do it like that. One doesn't really want to go in. I'm not sure if I'm like not properly lining it. Like it's going in, but there's quite a bit of resistance in doing so. Also tighten the other two quickly. And then we need to add the same cable tie here. Let's see, can I push in? From the bottom. So. Perfect. So this is our first, can show that. This is our first cable chain here. And it's levitating, doesn't touch. Bit of an odd angle. This one doesn't really want to bend very nicely, but I guess that's fine. Cool. Oh, you also see the Wago connector on the back. So I guess this will be also where we will continue. So now basically we have to put the mounting plate on first. So basically it's like you hook it in and then put it down. Let's do it without screws. Oh wait. Oh, that's the right orientation, I think. Yeah, no, I had it the wrong way, I think. This goes in here, and this goes in here. And then these are the ones where you have to push the nut from the bottom, because the screws are ever so slightly too short to grab it in. Like the nut is captured in the bottom position, but you have to push it up a little tiny bit. So, and this one is interesting. I actually have it in my test kit. So you have to use the Allen key to push up the nut. Let me just not fully tighten those so we can make sure everything is nice and aligned. And where is the last screw? Yeah, here it's hiding. Okay. So the only problem is now with this like mod here. Like before, what it did is I used like straight edge to kind of like make sure that this is like kind of aligned. But yeah, now you cannot put anything against here anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, it should be quite okay. So what I did now is like I used the screws and do it like that. So I just put it against the screws. Not perfect, but no, it does nothing. What I do does nothing. Okay, let's just assume this is pretty straight. And then once the actual bed is on, let's make sure that it's so in line. It's also mission critical that the bed isn't twisted around the Z-axis, basically. Still running smooth, that's good. Put on our like little silicone spacers. Where's the last one? Actually, it's such a chaos today. Where's the last one? And 4 screws. We have 4 nuts here. 4 screws, it's all here. Where's the last silicone spacer? Still proud of my artwork here. Step back. Where did it go? Should have it rolled off the table or something. Oh, let me quickly check the floor. 1 second. I have no clue where that thing went. I mean, as I said, like I created massive chaos today. I wasn't aware that it's that bad. We have those. We have the bed. Let's put the bed away for now. We have less space. Less stuff in the space. That's trash. It's most likely right in front of me. I just don't see it. Like, this is my pile of mess here. Does anyone see? See the part? How can I lose that? Quite a big part. I mean, it's black. How on earth can I lose that? I mean, it's my other very organized box. Oh, how did that get in there? Okay, maybe I grabbed it with the cable or something. Ignore this very messy box, please. It's horrific. Okay, sorry. Back to the bed. So, almost lost it again. Then basically what my idea was is to have those cables go basically behind the screw. Like not putting any like pressure here on that. This is bending quite nicely, like I'm not forcing it or anything. But then we kind of like get it around here. Just put the screw in there. So it's kind of like out of the way. Let me quickly put another screw here. On the front and yep, all four in. We quickly put the nuts here just so that nothing falls out again, and then we can like just flip the printer, and then you can see what I do, and I can see what I can do, what I do. Perfect. So, how do we flip that? Okay. Get the camera out of the way. And here, I'm not sure if that works. I mean, now we can see, but the bed wants to go down. I have something to prop up the bed here. I can put a... Oh, that works. Perfect, so we can work here. Okay, so these are the thermistor cables. So they're plenty long. It's good that we didn't crimp them yet. Let me just put them out of the way for now, so we can take care of them later. And these are the bed cables. I wouldn't shorten them at all anymore. I would have known that I do it like this, I wouldn't have cut them so short in the first place. Let's just remove the isolation. It's a bit too much. That should be fine. Okay, and let's quickly just twist it together. Thing. Now this is a bit fiddly now. Like there's not a lot of gap between the Wago connectors and the deck panel. So if you have thick fingers, that might not be your most favorite task. It's also a design flaw, it doesn't fit through there. To make the cut a little bit bigger. Okay, let's do this one first. Okay, this one is secure. You have to fiddle this one through here as well. Perfect. There's like no strains or something. And then we can put it in here. Quick test. Yep, that's good. And then I guess all that's left to do is the thermistor cable. It's a bit hard to see, but like now we have the two, I mean, polarity for the bed doesn't really matter, right? But the two black cables and the two red cables, both here, and then we can lost the screw or not. And I guess we can keep that relatively short. Something like this. Give it like a little bit more, just to be sure, in case we have to do it twice, which of course never happened before. Oh. Let's quickly throw a connector on there. Where did I put my crimping pliers? Yep, that's number one. Let's do the second one. That's not where it's supposed to be. Okay, let's quickly do that again. See if we can use that. Crimping is amazing. Like So much fun. Every time. And the amount of crimping we still have to do before everything is finished is immense. So I'm so happy. Yeah, we have to crimp all the connectors. Like, I don't have any prefabricated cables, basically. I think we can, like, the motor cables we can recycle, hopefully. If not, we generally have a problem anyways, because I'm not sure if I have the connectors for that, actually. But besides that, everything else will be crimped by hand. Let's see, this one we can use. Put on the housing. Tuck test is passed. Tuck test is passed. And here now we can push in the cables. And this goes in here. Perfect. This looks really pretty now. Like, it's really clean. And it doesn't protrude behind the bed, which is great, right? Like, I mean, for some, I'm not going to do that. But if you have the Switchwire, or like the Enderwire kit from Sibo, for example, you would have the enclosure, right? The enclosure would be flush here, basically, with the end of that plastic part here. So you have plenty of room here. Not sure if you can see that, but there's like that much space, basically. And the cables don't even like protrude this much. So it's like, this is a really good solution. This is a really nice solution to that. So then I guess this would be the conclusion of the bed. It's all in place. This one is not like bent over too much, but there's also like no movement on that part, right? Like, there's no movement here, so there's no stress on it. That's good. I'm still not 100% certain how we level the bed, but I think that's something we still have like a couple of minutes to solve, because like we kind of need to like make sure that the x-axis, right, is kind of like level with the bed, but also kind of, yeah. I think it's yeah. Let's see. Not so important. We need to figure it out for a second. Good. Here we go. Our bed is mounted. I feel that the screw is like protruding out the same amount on each corner. Although my feel in my super glue finger isn't as good. Yeah, I mean, it's sliding so nice. And all the cables for the bed are done, which is really cool. Perfect. Cool. Then I would say let's go over to the next step, which would be the x-axis. The basic problem here was like last time we put it on and like it's aligned, it's sliding well, it's amazing. But while checking like for next steps, we figured out that we need to put a screw here from the back. Oops. Like right here, we screw on this like position basically, but from the back side. And there's obviously this extrusion which prevents us from doing that. So what we need to do is basically we need to fully assemble the x-axis before we put it on here. And like where like a manual is really nice, right? If you have manual and you know like in which order you have to do certain steps, then that saves you from what we do now here, redoing everything. But yeah, I mean that's part of the fun, right? That's part of the fun. Perfect. Then we'll say like let's mount the linear rail. Do that. Yep. So let's mount the linear rail. And then we need to have those end caps, which are still printing, but I think looking at the camera picture, we are those numbers can't be right. It's telling me it's still like 40 minutes. It looks almost complete. This looks really complete on the picture. Oh, but they're like the high parts. Okay, so we are still like 25-ish minutes out with those parts. I mean, if it would have been smart, I would have like started earlier, but too bad. Let's do the following. Let's leave that for now. And let's do the wiring for the bed under deck. I have pre-shot in the beginning, so I have those cable channels here. Let's maybe start by cleaning this mess off. So what I did here is I printed this part like this. It has like walls left and right. And I wanted to have this open that I can put through the cables. But I also wanted to have like this indentation here because the USB cables will go over it. And so I just added this, it's a mess, sacrificial bridge here basically to make it printable. And now it's open. And from the side, like there's a really steep overhang, but still like I didn't want to put the overhang to the front, also the sides, so I just added this like sacrificial bridge just to make it a little bit like easier to print. It turned out quite okay. Get rid of all the trash. My trash pile is over there. So, and then I guess it's easiest to just flip it over without hitting the camera. And then we can work on this like that. A little bit. So this works. Perfect. So let's get off the bottom panel. Get all the screws, 1 second. One foot down. So let me grab the last one. We can lift it up. And we have all our bed cables here. Yeah, ooh, it's not super long. Should have added more. Okay, what you see here, that's like the first of those cable channels. So the other one goes here basically, and then the third one just goes in the middle. And then the idea is basically you can route cables into here and then like through and then out wherever we need them. And at the end, like all the mess is gone and just hidden. Could we have just used the cable channel that's pre-made? Yes, of course, but then where's the fun in that? I'm not quite sure how many of those like M3 nuts I still need. I have like 3 holes here, but I'll just use one per section, and it should be fine. Like it's not really like sliding left right or like twisting, because they hold each other kind of in place. I think one per section is sufficient. In there. Oh. Nice. Goes away. Yeah, and then like this really goes just like through here wherever we need it, right? And then the covers go on top. And then at the end, when we're done, the base plate holds everything together. And the middle section here, like where I have this indentation, the USB cables will basically kind of run over. This doesn't really like stay in place. I expect this to be more more stable. But then the USB cables kind of run over here and go into the rest. Ooh, okay. Maybe I have to reprint those with longer thingies here to hold in place. But yeah, the USB cable going somewhat like this here in this way, and then the Raspberry is here, and the 2 mainboards are there. Got the idea. Let's see how it works out. Okay, then let's quickly actually put the mainboards in. I kind of played around with that already and prepared it somewhat. So we have one SKR Mini E3 V3. Hi, Stefan. Hi, Rocher. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. How does your V0? Yeah, the V0 is printing. I'm not happy with the surface finish on those parts. The V0 is printing them again quickly. And I noticed that like quite, yeah, right for the stream. So we need to improvise a bit and do some other stuff while that's busy. That's still fun. So we can like do the cables here for the bed already. Yeah, so that was kind of the idea, to have one of the main boards here and the other main board goes here, and they just like kind of like go pretty much to the side. Something like that. The idea is, I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter, but the idea is this one is like kind of like the primary. You said it correctly. Okay, cool, perfect. So this one is kind of the primary. The reason why I have 2 is because I have 2 extruders in the end. So this will be a dual extruder machine. And I want to reuse the main boards I have. I didn't want to buy a new one. But here we only have 4 separate drivers. But we need X, Y, Z. And then extruder is 4, and then extruder 2 is 5. So basically the idea is to just use the second board, more or less only for the second extruder. But then this gives us like a lot of like capability as well, right? So, for example, we have the MOSFETs for the heated bed and for the hot end. Like those are MOSFETs, and my idea is basically to use them, for example, to control LEDs. We also have the NeoPixel controllers twice, which is quite handy. So it gives us a lot of like flexibility in a certain sense. Exactly, and basically we have 2 of those cables, and it's a bit annoying and tight, but I try to use the ones I have. So this kind of goes over here, and then the Raspberry would be here. And the second cable would basically do a little loop like this, and then they are like together here, something like this. I'm not sure if that's the best design. Maybe I should have added like a little like cable tie point here, just to hold it down, because I think those cables will kind of develop their own idea on where they want to go. But yeah, we can figure it out. Maybe I just drill like 2 small 3mm holes here in that part. Yeah, but then basically now the question is like we have the heated bed and the thermistor here. Where do we want to have them? So I mean, one idea, here's the AC inlet, so I kind of want to have this area kind of free if possible. So one idea would basically, because we have plenty of cable here, to just run it down all the way and go in here, and then basically just have it like that. That would work. For the thermistor cables, it's like obviously like I cut them too short ever so slightly, but actually like this would also be like a run that we can do, right? So they come in here, they go through, and then we plug them here in that side, and then we could just keep those GPIOs, we kind of keep free because they're awkward to reach. So we can have all the GPIOs here then basically. I think that kind of looks like something we can do, right? I mean, this is like quite quick. I would just maybe even put out this one. So just put ferrule connectors on this one, and then here we just crimp another JST connector on. Why not use one board for both extruders? Because those are the main boards I have. I mean, yes, I can use one board, but then I have to buy like a new main board. And yeah, I just had the parts, and I kind of tried to keep the build cheap in a certain sense. So my goal was to reuse as much as possible. And I mean, like, yes, one board would be nicer, but with Clipper, it also really doesn't matter that much if you have multiple controllers. They don't even have to be the same. You can just mix and match. If you wanted to, you could pair Z to a single driver, then dual extruder and XY run off a single board rather than piggyback boards to minimize your complexity. Steven, that wouldn't work because like you have 5 connectors here, right? But the ZA and ZB are one step driver, so you cannot control them independently. So you only have 4 stepper drivers per board. But you need basically, I mean, for this build, you need Y, and then you need AB, which is kind of like X and Z, and then you need the extruder. But then you're already out of stepper drivers for one board. So for the second extruder, you need the extra board, basically. And it looks a little bit messy maybe on first glance, but it's really like super simple to set up. As a matter of fact, my V0 also has 2 main boards. It has the SKR Pico, I think it's SKR Pico board, but then it also has the umbilical board, which is like a separate like main board on top that controls the tool head basically. That also has like 1 extra extruder stepper there. For Clipper, it's like really easy and common setup to do. Yeah, but it's also like I really will actually make use of some of the stuff on the second board, right? Because I will have like LEDs to light the build area. They won't be RGB, so I can just use one of those MOSFETs here that are like meant for the hot end and for the heated bed, and just control the LEDs through the MOSFET. So I can actually also dim them, which is quite cool. So it looks a bit messy, and it's like quite cramped. I have to admit that, but I think this will work out really nicely. Yeah, I guess let's just put some ferrules on that. I'll just leave it a little bit longer here. Something like that. Well, not much left. See if we can use those like short runs somewhere, or if not, then not. That's a little bit longer. Yeah, bit more. Super annoying. Like I have a missing word. I have this, but with the silicone wires, it's like damaging the isolation before the actual cut, which is a bit stupid. Yeah, that's good length. Such a beautiful like tool. Like I really like the action of those like ferrule crimpers. It's like very symmetric and nice. No, I should just remember which one is the bad. I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter, but I think it's the outer one. We just need to double check that at some point. I think that's quite a good layout, actually. I mean, we can push it in a bit, then we can work on those, and you can just push it out, and the cable just goes into the V slot here. That's quite good. And there's plenty of like room below, so we can also like push cables from this side under the board to the other side. And then like we have quite a lot of like room to work with those ferrule connectors here on the side. I just left them in here just as a placeholder that I'm like aware that cables will come in there. But yeah, like it's quite a good layout, I think. Cool. Then let's just cut those to the same length as a start. And then we do my favorite thing, wire strippers. Thank you. Sometimes I'm forgetting like the weirdest words. Let's get some more of the JST. See if we can get it on the first try this time. 10 minutes left on the print, and we can start the x-axis. So let's get that in here. So that looks okay. That's number one. I'm not very happy with the cable being red. Like, I mean, I'm not like super strict with color codes of cables and stuff. But usually red is like power. It's like one thing I kind of adhere to. Oh, shit. Ooh. I damaged the cable. Well, how did that happen? Like, I'm not sure if you can see that. It's like ripped open the cable. Yeah, back to start. It's the first time I had that happen to me. Maybe I has a cable in the jaws of the crimper? Not sure. We still have to wait for the print, so half is bad. Crimping is fun. Hope this doesn't happen again. No, it couldn't have been. I mean, I'm holding the cable on the back. I'm sure how it would have slipped into the tongs of the crimping, or like the jaws of the crimping pliers. Very odd. So it's still long enough. So already on the short end. Yeah, it's still fine. I mean, it's the second one. If we like follow the labeling on the board. Let's get a housing for that. Quick pull test. Success. I guess we can just plug it in directly. See, we already start with wiring. Isn't that nice? And then yeah, I'll reprint those with like taller tall of the vertical piece. So this is like a little bit like safer in place. I think this looks quite nice. Like all the cables will just be gone basically in this like main cable channel. And then there's like this hole here from the original Ender extrusion where we can pass wires from front to back. I need to see how to route the AC wires from here because I want to keep them a little bit separate. I kind of destroyed the route over the side now because there's no bypass here. Like this on top was meant for LED strips in the end. I want to have LED strips left and right here to get like an underglow of the printer. So that's like reserved for LED strips. So I guess the AC wiring has to go through here. Let's figure it out later. And this board will have excellent cooling with the fan being directly here. Yeah, it's one thing that's a little bit annoying now. I mean, like, there's still like a lot of openings. But the power supply will be down there in this area here. So this cable channel now basically blocks the airflow a bit. It should be fine still. Cool, perfect. I really like this. Like this is like really, really clean. And then like there really like tons of cables coming out here and here from. Yeah. This is the opening where the tool head cables will all come in. So they will all directly go from here. I think it's still good to just pull them into the cable channel first and then route them back out. Then like all the cables are coming directly from there. Cool. Let's do the following. Let's close it up for now. Because we need our feet. And then in 5 minutes, the parts are done. And look also good on the video feed. I hope it holds up in reality. And then until it's ready, I would say let's do the linear rail already. The last linear rail. It was kind of like an accident that I ordered like a transparent bottom panel. That was not quite my intention. I selected the wrong material. But yeah, so I think it's quite cool to like see it. I mean, you won't see it because at the bottom, of course. But still, like you can tilt the printer over and see all the internals. And once like the protection film is gone, it should also be nice and clear. But yeah, then the idea is basically to have like LEDs running down here the full length of the printer, basically to get like an underglow effect. Now also we'll like mount them somehow to the panel itself. So we'll have like small plug somewhere where the LEDs connect. And then the LEDs come off with the panel. That's my rough idea. Let's see how it will turn out in reality. Okay. Collect all the trash. Perfect. Yeah, we can kind of park it for a second. I guess we can really just start by throwing, like, this is like the back side. So this is top, so the linear rail goes on that side. I would just say, let's start by just mounting that beauty. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need to get some more of those. And I think we also, yeah, we need more M3x8s. Only 5. It's good that I ordered like a whole bag of them again. Oh, interesting. They're not quite the same. I mean, it's the same screw, technically. Not sure if you can see that one has like riffling riffles. Yeah, like stuff on the side, and the other one's smooth. Doesn't really matter, but interesting. So we also need more of those. Check out. That is M5. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now we also need more M5, but that's all the M3 we have. Which is very unfortunate. Fill up our M5. Yeah, we will need way more of those M3s. I mean, I know why I don't have enough. Because I, of course, use them all over the place where I'm not supposed to use them. I mean, technically 2 are enough for the linear rail, but I'm fairly certain we will also need them for the X or like the A and B motors. Like for M5, I have tons and tons. Because I also have the T-nut from the Ender still. But M3, that's the end. Let me think. Where can we steal some? I mean, I can just order more. That's not the problem. I'm just thinking where we can get some quickly and easy. I mean, we just put 3 in the cable channel. There are 4 more in the mounts for the main boards that are not supposed to be there, but I think like they would also have used some there. That is a heated insert. Actually, I'm not sure I've used so many. We can steal 2 of the end block. I mean, if we have 4, that should be sufficient. Yeah, there too. I'm just sealing like here from the end block, which also means we kind of need to be careful that our y-axis doesn't derail. Oh, there's a random M3x8 and it's ours. Oh, it's the one I just loosened. One. I mean, yeah, we use a lot in the rails, of course. Kind of where we are supposed to use them. 4. Let me just use something. Just using some Captain tape quickly. Sure if that sticks to the aluminum as well. Ah, it does. Just to put something over the rail. So in case we forget about that. It kind of like stops the bed from derailing. In a second, we can also use those. Is 4 enough? I mean, where can I get more? Like, there's some in the linear rails, of course, but we need those. Yeah, there are not really that many spots where I use them outside of the linear rails. I would go now with 4 here. And should be fine. Like 4 is plenty. And then we do 1, 2, 3, 3. Just make it symmetric then. 1, 2, 3, 3, and then this one goes here. Kind of do it like that. Sorry for having my hat in the shot there. And one goes in here. Fairly confident that like four screws are fine. If I would have known that, I would have put less in the X and the Z. But you're always smarter after the fact. Okay, I'm just putting those like blockers on the y-axis for now. And here on the side, we will have those. Oh, I already forgot about that. I had a little bit of an accident for the print that just finished. Like the filament sensor triggered randomly and like start the load filament routine non-stop. Yeah, so they go in here and they go over the linear rail. And that's the part that I reprinted, which I guess we can now also pick up from the printer and we can quickly swap that out. Right. Just wonder how that is supposed to align. Like with the screw hole here, like that clearly does not align. So we can't put the screw here, we have to skip one. Okay, let me quickly grab the print. I'm back in 10 seconds. Back with a very fresh and hot print. Hot. Is it better? Yeah, that's better. It does look better. Perfect. Then let's quickly swap out those parts. Yeah, no, I didn't wait long enough, of course. So there's a little bit of white in there, which is like ABS stress marks. So when you're not patient enough with the ABS, you will get those white spots here on the part. You can fix it with a hairdryer. and just heat up the part, like highest setting of the hairdryer, and you go quite close and just heat it up, and then basically the ABS heats up and relaxes. And then those white marks disappear. Let's see how we can get this replaced with the least amount of effort. Firstly, that's this part here. Shim, washer, washer, shim. Perfect. Oh, wrong size. Perfect. This goes in here. And then from the back, that was the main problem we had last time. So we didn't have the screws because I used the screws in a different place. But we needed those very short M5 by 10s from the back. And they basically go in here and hold it from the back side. They're very short. I'm actually not sure if it's like a... No, the wrong lines. These are too short. This looks better. So these were M5 by 8. Perfect. Yeah, and this now grabs like from the back into the nut. And we couldn't install those anymore because the Z extrusions were in the way. And I would say let's move those screws, the outermost, just one in. We don't have this alignment issue here with this like little hole. Push that. Oh, that's too much. One over. I'm sure you can hear that, but my neighbor's cat upstairs, like, it's going absolutely bonkers. Sounds like playtime. So let's get this on. Let's get this. Oh wait, that's a short one. We don't need this one. We need this one. Get this in. Make sure it's aligned with the end. And then we have to rebuild the stack quickly. So this part is out. And this is the matching new part. See if we can just directly drop that. Perfect. And it just screws in the plastic directly here. So there's no heated inserts, nothing. Which is fine because like the pressure comes from the side, so it doesn't really like there's no like pulling force on it or something. Let me quickly check in Fusion. Like I'm a bit confused by it's not aligning. I mean, could it be just that I didn't cut it to the exact right length? Because like the extrusion, right? Like you had to cut off I think I trashed it. But you had to cut off like 15 millimeters or something from the end. Could be that's just like mine is ever so slightly longer than what they expect. But also now that I think about, right, like those parts, it's not important that they're aligned with the end of the extrusion. They must be aligned with the vertical ones, which should be aligned with the end of the extrusion. Yes, let's align them with the end of the extrusion here for now, and we can see how it plays out in the end when we put on the belt, which hopefully we do today. Make sure this is nice and tight. And then we have our X-rail. Perfect. So then this part is also old, and this is temporarily out of use. Let's quickly put the screws that we don't need back. And then I guess we can put this back. I've been listening in the background. I really like the frosted bottom panel. It's not frosted though. It's not frosted. That's the protective film. It will be clear. Once the protective film is off, it will be completely clear and see-through. Technically, I could frost it, right? Like you can always just take like, I don't know, like 1,000 grit sandpaper or something and frost it yourself. I did do that in the past with acrylic glass. That works quite well. Just takes a second of your time. Oh, okay. All the screws. But yeah, it's not frosted. It's like it's the film. Like once I peel off the film, it's like no scratches, but not frosted. But yeah, I think it's still fine because you don't really see it technically. That's on the bottom. But then like my goal is really like having the LEDs like left and right. That's kind of like my thing. Just like a U-shaped LED, so you have like the underglow on all sides. Yeah, I actually picked up the LEDs today from the post office. I ordered 2 meters from AliExpress. Just generic RGB strips. So we can control them then later from the Clipper interface. I think it's illegal to have a printer without RGB. Somebody told me. Let's put those back. Okay, that's one side. Let's do the other side. Okay, let's do the following. So we just push it all the way up. So we know it's straight. And we can tighten that. Yeah, and it's still really moving, which was one of the main pain points we had last time. But now it's heavier. The rail makes a big difference. Yes, the holes line up. I have bolted them and the T-nut pen. The holes line up. Wait, which holes? Oh, the holes in front, you mean? I mean, they do. No, they do. So I could have had the screw in here, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Now that I only have 4 here anyways. But to be honest, that's something I can change very easily, right? Like even if we now put on the belts, I can always push in like the nut from the side and just push them inward. And then I can move this one over, and I can move this one over, and then I can add 2 more on the side. And just have to order more of them. It's a real shame, like, I feel like they have very little spare parts in the hardware kit that I got. And then this being the different revision than what the kit is like spec for, does not really help either. Cool, but then, yeah, so basically now we're at the point where I thought we would be like last stream already. I guess better late than never. And we now have a moving bed. And we have the x-axis. Perfect. Then let's quickly check Fusion. Depending on what hardware we need, I would do different things. I mean, the logical step now would be to have the motors installed and then the belts. That was like my initial idea. But I'm fairly certain that for the motors, we need the M3 T-nuts, which we don't have anymore. And without them, that would make no sense to do the motors. In that case, I think I would actually start building the stealth burner. Or we do the cable chain here. We can do that as well. That we do the cable chain and the stealth burner next. Let's quickly check Fusion and see what Fusion tells us we can do. Let me move my trash pile a little further. Where's my mouse? My mouse is turned off. I always use the trackpad, but trackpad with Fusion is straight from hell. That's not something you can do. Okay, so here are the motors. How are they mounted? So there's basically, I mean, we can quickly hide that body. So those screws are from the motor itself, and it's the motor shaft here. And then we have 4 screws. I wonder what is this? 4 screws. Mouse was on the wrong DPI. 4 screws. And then down here we have the 2 M5, which I'm very certain we don't have, but that will be fun as well. That's the M5 by 16. And they are then using the M5 T-nuts, which we have plenty. So that's perfect. Then we have this screw here, which goes down, and this is then a tension idler, basically. So this holds down the entire motor, basically. Okay, let's quickly check. So this one is M3 by 40. And those are M3 by 30. So we need 8 M3 by 30 and 2 M3 by 40. And then those are M5 by 16. That sounds doable. That sounds doable. Let me quickly find the motors. I guess that one. Or like, the screws are on top. So we say it's M3 by 30, we need 8. So that's actually what I just have fell into my hands. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need obviously 2 of those. And we need M5 by 16, which, yes, we don't have. So let's check our magic. So these are all the parts basically I have from disassembling the Ender, and that came with the hardware kit I got. And now basically what I got extra, right, was the M5 by 16. We can use M5 by 12, sorry, M5 by 12. I got extra heated inserts, and the M3x8s were running out. And the heated inserts I already took from the stealth burner kit. So we kind of like, we are in debt to the stealth burner kit. Okay, M5 by 16. So we need 4 of those nuts. I mean, we could also use the T-nuts, the hammerhead T-nuts thingy there, but like, no, wait, those are hammerheads, those are T-nuts, I think. Yeah, those are way nicer. Then I would swear that this one is a 12. I put print on my calipers. It's always good. Let's see, what do we have here? So that's a 12. And those are way too long, of course. Okay. Then let's go into the scrapyard. So we have M5s here, but those are like 40 versus 16. That's a small difference, so it's not that hard. Okay. That's my Ender scrapyard. Actually, I have like one more box, but the other box is all parts that definitely go in the trash. Let's see, do we have any? We will need to build that soon. What do we have here? That's not an M5. I don't see M5s. Like those parts all had M5s, but I salvaged them already. If we have something in this box. Yeah, that's the stealth burner kit. We do have the motors here. We need those. That's good. Belts here. Definitely no M5 hardware in here. Okay, well, let's put together the motors, I would say. And I got those, I have no clue where I put them now. Here. I mean, these are M5 by 12 and they're they're socket head instead of button head, but technically we can give that a shot. Last of my chaos boxes. Yeah. These should be the printed parts we need. Get rid of that again. Let's see. So these are the X carriage, and it's actually a special version of the X carriage because it's a BLTouch Switchwire X carriage. We talked about it like a second ago. Like I want to reuse as much as possible. I know BLTouch is not really like state of the art anymore, but I have it, and we can use it. And we have those 4 parts. Can't remember what those are. And we have the spacer. I don't know what we need the spacer for yet. And then those are technically like they were supposed to be yellow, but mine are black. They hook into the V slot and pull down the motor to tension everything. What I also did off stream, because it was like kind of like painful last time to do it on stream. I flattened out the shaft a bit of the motor on one side. I just used like one of those like normal like key files, and then you just go at it. Doesn't take too long, like it's like 5 minutes or something. So let's see. I don't think that there's any left-right difference with those parts. They're completely symmetrical. That's also what I thought last time, and then I was like completely wrong. It was like super annoying. There is a difference. No. So the side parts are the same, seemingly. Okay, so they go together like this, and then this is mounted vertical like that. And the motor comes in from the side. Let's quickly check the orientation of the motor plug. I think they are kind of supposed to go inward. Because if you look here where we mount it, here's a little cutout for the cables. So my assumption would be that we mount the motor like this. And then basically those parts go down like that. And like this kind of is in here. Like this. That would be kind of my idea. But let's see what Fusion says. I assume that is the plug, so they have it to the top. No, I disagree. I wouldn't mind facing inward. That's how we do it, with the Creality sticker to the top basically for one side and down for the other. We can also like peel off that sticker. Let's quickly do that. I'm really curious to see how those motors perform. I mean, I kind of know how they perform because I used them now since years, but how they really perform. Yep, sticker gone. Okay, cool. Then this is like that, and then we have 1, 2. So the screws go in from the back. Oh wait, before we do that, I mean, we can still do it. Yeah, let's quickly take it off. Again, that's like where the manual comes in handy. They're actually pretty accurate than the DF5 MicroSiwss. Wait. Oh, BLTouch. Sorry, I missed your message. Yeah, I mean, like the BLTouch, they are, I think the accuracy is not the problem. Like a lot of people have problems with them because if they are in enclosures, they tend to melt seemingly. Like mine was an enclosure as well. And I'm not quite sure if it works 100% perfectly. Like I have had a little bit issues with the Z offset being not consistent. So it could be very well that this one has also like a little bit of like a problem. But yeah, so like I'll use it. And I can always swap it out for something else in the future. So it's not, it doesn't have to stay there forever. Let's see. Not sure who was watching already when I had my super glue debacle. Like if you wonder why my hands are full of super glue, I did something that was stupid, and I said it was stupid, and I did it anyways. So if you ever cut open a bottle of super glue, just don't. Not super fun. Now I have super glue everywhere. Oh yeah, you see it actually on camera more than I see in reality. Where did you find SL for the BLTouch? I have one and want to. I found it in the description of the live stream. I think it's there. It's on. Can't remember. But check the description of the YouTube video. I think I have everything linked there, except the parts that I designed myself. I still have to upload those. But yeah, I kind of want to wait until I'm done because then I know that everything works as expected with the parts I designed myself. Let's also check what the orientation is. So for the side we're working on right now, the orientation is like this. I have no clue about the spacing yet. That's something we need to adjust in a second. There must be a pretty big delay. No, I think the delay is more me not seeing messages. I'm really bad at multitasking, and yeah, I'm the delay. The stream delay should be 8 seconds, 5 to 8 seconds. So basically, I mean, you see it. Your message is on screen. So if you type something, you see the delay. In the moment you see it on screen, I see it as well. Or like on screen in the video, basically. Okay. And then we had I didn't put them out yet. The longer screw basically goes down the middle than here. Let's also do that right away, but we need heated inserts in those. So let's quickly prepare that. Luckily, we don't have to solder any more wires. I really don't like that. Like, I don't like crimping, but if I have the choice between crimping a connector and soldering a connector, I take crimping every day. Rocher, what's the test delay? If it's more than 10-ish seconds, I selected the wrong streaming profile. That also is something that happened, but I can check that. No, it's low latency. It's a low latency stream, so it should be around 8 seconds. It's basically YouTube has 3 latency variants. The normal latency, which is like 30 seconds, and then there's the low latency, which is 5 to 8, and then there's the extra low latency, which is like 3. But the downside is of like the lower latencies, yeah, 8 seconds. Is that like if my internet connection craps out or your internet connection craps out, like this is like the amount of time the internet connection has restored for the stream to continue without any hiccups, basically. And there's also limitations on the stream quality. So basically, I think the ultra low latency doesn't allow for 60 frames per second, which I'm not streaming, but still technically I wouldn't be able to do that. But yeah, that's like a little bit like trade-off as always in life. Cool, let's quickly do the second one. But let me check in Fusion how the orientation is of the thing there. I'm fairly certain it's the other way around there. Yeah, see? Here basically the gear section faces inwards. So it's like one motor is like gear section outward and one motor is gear section inward. Because we need to offset between the two. Yeah, I was like, for the BLTouch Happy MFG, I was like looking quite a long time to find that. Like, I mean, like, I don't feel like it's like a hyper like popular thing I'm building. And then like having like very specific parts that are not super common in combination with that is like quite painful. I also reuse my MicroSiwss hotend. And I also actually found somebody who adopted the stealth burner for MicroSiwss, which is really cool. I kind of expected that I have to do this myself. Oh, doesn't want to go in. And then the last thing that's special for me, I will have two extruders. And I will basically, instead of having the clockwork 2 extruder, basically the direct drive extruder, I will have a V. I'm not quite sure. I feel like my shafts are shorter than his. Like if I put this like on backward, like this is, now it's flush, like the shaft is flush, and there's like no space left whatsoever. I wonder if those shafts are longer here. It looks like different motors as well. Like these are taller motors. Interesting. But if I hide this part here, I mean, you see the shaft like protrudes out quite a bit. So if I measure that quickly, that's 22 millimeters. I mean, it could be 22 millimeters. No, it's 18. Okay, so knowing that, so his is 4 millimeters longer than mine. Then the question becomes, what's the spacing there? 5. So that means that I have -1 millimeters. -1 millimeters, which is a good amount of millimeters to have as spare. Then let me think. So basically that means that let's say like the outward facing side, how far is it away from the motor? 13 millimeters. Now, do I get 13 millimeters here? Yeah. They will be really close. Like my calipers are a bit short. Wait, how can I do it? I can do it like this. No. Let's see. Let's measure to the base. That's easier. So from the motor base to the outer side of the, that's 15 millimeters. So basically, if I have 15, just make it 16, so we have a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah, that doesn't work. So I have to like mount it like that. But then if I move it to the position where it needs to be, the screws are above the shaft. Yeah, I had a V1 Enderwire for about a year now, going to reprint the parts and do rebuilds. That's how I found your stream. Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, the only reason why I did the V2 actually was because I have the 2 main boards. And the electronic space in the V1 is like way more constrained. So it wouldn't have fit in there, I guess. So that's why I have the V2. I won't even put an enclosure on it. It will stay without enclosure. But yeah, they changed a couple of parts, but the motor should be the same. But it basically means that I can't use those motors, which is a solvable problem, but one that kind of sucks. Okay, let's quickly check the other side. How far do we need? I mean, this side is easy. This side is easy, that's not a problem. So from here to the motor base, it's 26. 26 we can do quite easily, I think. Maybe. Oh no, 26 is also out of reach. So the shafts of those motors are too short. Now the question is, is it something that really matters? Because we can also, right? Like we can also adjust the motor this way. Like we can move it physically back and forth to align it with the belts. The only problem here is basically there's like a limit, right? And looking at that, so if I like move it now pretty much to the end, and there's like already quite a bit. I get it out maybe like a millimeter more, but this is really like the outermost end I can do to align that. So long story short, what I'm thinking here, I have more motors, right? Because we have more motors. I have exactly 2 more motors. And these bad boys have a longer shaft. These are exactly the longer shaft that we would need. Yeah, these are the 2023-ish. 22. Yeah, so these are exactly the motors that are shown in Fusion. The thing is, usually you wouldn't have 2 of those. These are for the extruders, technically. So what I'm thinking here is we could use those motors for the extruders and those motors for X and Y. My question now, like I'm not quite sure what the implication here is. I'm not quite sure what the implication is. There's a gearing, like quite a heavy gearing on the M4 extruder. So I think that the weaker motors would be fine. Yeah, but right now we also don't have like a lot of choice. So I guess our XZ movement system just got an upgrade. So let's just use those. That should be fine, right? Like the M4 extruder technically is also meant to be used with pancake steppers. So that should be fine. Worst case, I ordered like more steppers. Like those steppers, like I ordered 1 extra, right? Like they're all from my Ender. I ordered 1 extra for the second extruder. It was 10 euros. So it's like that cheap. It's like really cheap. And then the second one goes on the other way. See, now we just do exactly what they have in Fusion. No problem. Do I have... Oh no, I used my kitchen towel. Yeah, I now have like... I put way too much thread lock on there. Let me quickly grab a kitchen towel to clean this up a bit. And then let's clean up the mess and then we can mount the motors. 1 second. The last kitchen towel is drenched with super glue. Okay. Then let's park them for now. And then we said this one has the connector facing inward. Like both of them will have it facing inward. Okay. And let's build the second one. And let's maybe also try to align the, I forgot the name. I forget all the stuff today, like the thing here. Let's try to align them already to how it is in Fusion. Mine has been fine. See, I'm the delay again. It's interesting. I mean, the thing is, like, there's so many like different variants of the Ender, and like mine is quite old. Like, it's potentially just changed stuff around, like from the parts that they use. That's just, it's the easiest. Did I print the wrong parts? Or is there a trick to mirror that? I feel like the V0 has to spring into action again. I think I printed the same parts twice instead of like printing the mirror parts. Yeah, there's only one way for them to go on. So this is one side, which is fine, but this one is not mirrored, like it's in the wrong direction. Oh God. Well, that's not smart. That is not smart. Then I have to print that. Let's see. Let me quickly check. Where did I screw up? Yeah, it's X motor mount A and X motor mount B is what I printed. But I'm fairly certain that then there's also a Z motor mount. Wait, did I? No. Did I print that? And put it somewhere else? It doesn't seem like it. No, I definitely printed the wrong one. Definitely printed the wrong one. How long does that take? 1 hour? 33 minutes? Ah. that takes a bit too long. Like, we can start it, of course. Let me quickly kicked it off. Okay. Let me quickly put back the print plate. I guess it's still here. Then let's try to mount one side of the motor, or like one motor side. Because we also still have to figure out the M5 screws we use, right? It's not my day. A lot of wrong parts. Okay, let me quickly put it back. I'm back in 15 seconds. Okay, so that is printing. Let's see. Then let's focus on the one side we have. Here we go. So this basically goes in like this. And later the tension of the belts will pull it up, basically. That means we have two M5 things here. Actually curious to see whether we can use those hammerhead nuts here. So it's quite close. I'm also interested to see, is it like the top one or is it the bottom? I would have Tech. How are you feeling about this build versus the V02? The V02 is like a walk in a park. Goes in the top rail. No, it's like, for me, it's like quite a bit of things that just don't like quite fit. Not sure like when you tuned in, but we just discovered the issue with the motors. So these are the X, or technically there was the Z motor of the Ender and the X motor of the Ender, I guess. And usually if you do the Enderwire, right, like you have those two available for those two A and B motors here. The problem is that for me, the shaft is only 16 millimeters, but you need a 22 millimeter shaft to align everything properly. And that doesn't work with those. I mean, luckily I have those motors, which come from the Ender extruder, and I bought a second one of those, so I have two identical ones. And they have a shaft with the proper length, so I can use those motors instead. But without that, I would be a little bit screwed. I mean, maybe I also just do something wrong. But yeah, overall, like the V0 is way easier. I mean, the manual makes all the difference, of course. Because if you don't have manual, I mean, just think of the Kirigami bed and then imagine the entire printer is like that. That's basically how I feel. Okay, so next problem. The M5 screws I wanted to use, they're definitely too short for that. So these are 12, so we definitely need M5 16s. Which then leads into the question, where are the M5 by 16s I'm supposed to use? I don't see any. Like, this is M5 by 20, and we can give it a shot, but I'm pretty certain that those are way too long. Yeah, it's way too deep. Like, if I put that in the... Yeah, it just bottoms out in the V slot, so we can't use those. Yeah, the difference between an official printer with support and beta testing worse than mod. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly the thing. I mean, it's still fun, but it's definitely not as straightforward as I expected. Main problem is also right now, for example, that I just don't have the hardware seemingly I need, which is a bit odd. So that might be that's the end of the AB motors for today. This one looks like something we can, but it's M4. It's not M5. I mean, this is a M5 by 16. But that's not really like a screw I want to use in a printer. See? Yeah, like they're all too short, they're too long. Let's see my magic. My magic fastener box. So we have, yeah, exactly, that's the one I just had in my hand. So it's M5 by 15. But it's, I forgot everything today, like the stupid thing. I mean, technically it wouldn't matter too much. Wait. Oh, wait, I'm thinking two different things. Technically we can use them, I think. So we need to get those out and get them up one. They go in the upper slot. Put those in here. Not a nice screw, but I think technically it would work. I'm already annoyed. Yeah, the length is okay. So we could use those. So that would technically work. This would also kind of align them. So that should be all fine. The other thing that I'm not checking, so if you look from the side here at that. If you look from the side, so I now orient the two hammerhead nuts to the middle, but in the middle we need some space to have that hook, because this kind of like hooks into the this side. So this hooks into the V-slot like this, and then pulls down the motor. So the hammerhead nuts definitely need to go to the outside. And then my concern is that the hindmost hammerhead nut collides with this screw here from the frame. So I think we can't use hammerhead nuts in this position, but we need to use the T-nuts. Which is fine. But it's a good to know kind of thing. Okay, so That means these can go out. And then we use hammerhead nuts. So we have 1 2 hammerhead nuts. And then let's just install one side completely, which means we need to quickly do the heat inserts for those two, which we wanted to do a while ago. So I turned on the iron, and then we never did it. How does I have complete confidence in my V0 that the first layer is tremendously great. But I do want to turn on the Nevermore. For some reason, my Nevermore doesn't turn on automatically anymore. I had it set up in a way that it turns on when the material is ABS of the print. But for some reason, it doesn't work anymore. I have to check that at some point. Those are in. Okay, so we have to fiddle in the hammerhead nuts, which I absolutely peanuts, which I despise. I hate those. And on top, we have to do it while using stupid screws. So it's like a success on all fronts. Oh no, they are M4. And out. Okay, so these are M4. Okay, well then we have to use those, but it means that this one needs to go in this orientation, and then basically it's just like on the outmost position, which I guess should be fine. So this goes on here. This goes here. And now we should have space in the middle. I will replace those screws. They will not stay here forever. I already know it. Okay. Yeah, now there's a little bit of like friction. That's nice. So. And then we need an M3x40, which then goes basically through the middle. That's 30. M3x40. We have 3, so they get 1 extra, I guess. Nice. So this basically goes through here, and then this hooks into the V slots. Oh. Oh no, do we have to put this in first? Okay, we have to put this in first. Fun. Well, then we have to take this off again. See what a tic tac? That's what I mean. Like, life can be easy or with a manual, or you do everything again. So this goes out. But if we now take this apart again, let's also use the opportunity and align Man, I completely forgot how this is called. Black part, the aligned black part. So for this side, this is the one that's facing forward, so we also use the other motor for that. Just quick take apart the second one. Just quickly put the screw in and put it back onto the first. Oh yeah, this one's, yeah, I'm not sure why I do that. Yeah, that's the wrong printed parts. Okay, so looking at Fusion, let's just measure from top to top. So the top part, oh, that's what I have here marked already. So the top part here to the base plate of the motor is 27.6. So let's just do exactly that. So 27, oh yeah, 0.6. So still needs to go up a fair bit. Let's also line the other motor right away. Then hopefully still tight. So it's also wrongly oriented because we want to have one of the screws on the flat side, of course. Okay. Tighten one. Yeah, perfect. This is on the flat side. Okay. So this one should be aligned according to Fusion. Let's see. Let's also check the other one quickly. And this one is 24.35. Okay, so I have set 24.35. I think I saw a YouTube tutorial a long way back that's possible to actually CSV from Fusion 3.6 to use as a bomb. That would be really handy. The problem is in this specific case, right? Because like you have some parts from the ender and you have some parts that you need to get. Oh yeah, this is actually already aligned. No. But one of the screws, none of the screws are on the flat side, so let's quickly fix it. The problem is like some of the parts you have from your ender. So even though you would have it, man. Okay, I think this one is. How is that? Did I now super glue it with a thread locker? Okay, I guess this one stays stays as it is. I wonder if this could help to get an accurate hardware list form. Yeah, I think like it would help, but the problem is you still need to check like what you have from the ender basically, and what you need to get on additionally. So it's like it's only part of the truth. And what I did, I knew that that would be like a bad idea or like that it would go wrong. And hey, surprise, it goes wrong. I got a hardware kit for like an Ender 3 to Switchwire conversion. And what I figured out already is that that hardware kit was for the revision 1 of that project/printer, and I have revision 2. So that's one thing. The revision 1 doesn't have the extension here, right? So this extension ate like a lot of heated inserts in M3x8s, which we're now missing. So that's one thing. Those M5, not sure where they were supposed to come from. Could very well be that I have like a slightly different ender than whatever somebody else has. And mine just doesn't have those screws. Or I had those screws and I don't know, like replaced that part with something, and that's why I don't have them right now here. I mean, like lots of possibilities how that can go wrong. That's the beauty of like, kind of like, no, I forgot the screw again. That's the beauty of like reusing the end, right? You're in for surprises. So where did I now put the screw? Here's one. Here's the second one. So this screw needs to go in before we mount it. Lesson learned. Now we can tighten it. It's also like the repository from the Enderwire. The bomb is soon PM. AKA like they planned to do it, but then they never did it. So I don't think it's as easy as just exporting it. Because then they would have done it already, most likely. But to be honest, like, if I would do it again, I would just go for the Seaboard kit and then assume that this kit would be quite complete. But yeah, so far it's like nothing like major, right? Like everything so far is solvable. I just had to order like a little bit more hardware, which I expected that this would be the case. See if this now works. Oh, I fear we have to put it. Okay. You have to completely assemble that before you put it here. Oops, sorry. You have to completely assemble that section before you put it here. Exporting requires a Fusion subscription. Okay, well, yeah, maybe then that's the problem. That could be a reason. But I kind of have a feeling that a lot of people who work on the Voron stuff are also kind of like semi-professional. Not sure if it's like a wrong impression. So I guess the likelihood of somebody having a Fusion license is quite high. I think Steve has a Fusion license. There was like some discussion about that at some point. I recall that he has one. Not saying that like he needs to export it or can export it. It's just like I think a lot of like Voron folks have those licenses. Yeah, let's quickly write it in here. Okay, and now we can put this in here. Oops. Okay, but now it needs to work. See, if we take like a couple more attempts, the print is done for the other side. Okay, let's try again. Okay. I mean, the hook doesn't make it easier now. I think it's hooked. This goes in. Yep, that's in. Oh. So. Now this screw here can be tightened to pull, to tension everything. As you tighten that, it will pull down the motor. Basically, the belt will pull the motor up, right? And then as you loosen tension here, you can see how it like, you can't see it because it's like, I'm not quite sure what I'm showing here. And everything is black. I regret the decision to make everything black. It's a terrible color for streaming. But yeah, you can see how it's like kind of like moving up then. So let's just make sure this is like in the bottommost position, which would be kind of defined by the screws. It's kind of like here. And then we have this much like room to tension everything. Okay, then let's do the following. The prints are printing for 1 hour still. Okay. Then let's prepare the middle section where we later mount the stealth burner tube. That's also something we need to do in order to be able to tension the belts or like install the belts. So we have two halves here basically. And as far as I understand, they go on like this. That is my understanding of that. Not 100% sure if that's... It's a bit... They're like... not super secure until like screwed down, seemingly. Okay, they're also like screws from left to right. With some nuts, seemingly. So how about we put this part together? Just need to figure out how the belts are clamped in here. Let's quickly check out Fusion. Yeah, so basically the belts come together here. So let's quickly check in Fusion, but then technically if this part is done, we have all the parts ready that we would need to run the belts. Let's see. How does it work? Let's maybe... height and tires. Oh no, stealth burner includes the part we need. Then Trying to get, yeah, so here's the part we need. Ours is slightly different because we have a BLTouch here instead of this probe. Okay, so we have 2 screws here in the back, 3. Okay, and the middle screw here basically goes into this block, which I think is the part. I do not recall seeing this part. But yeah, it makes sense that we need that. So basically we have, oh, I do know. So we have, wait, what did I do now? Oh, I flipped it upside down, okay. So we have 2 screws that go from left to right completely through. And those are cool. Body 10. We need to figure out what we need here lengthwise. And then on the other side, there's just the M3 nut. So no heated insert or something, it's just a nut. Yeah, I think we can put those 2 halves basically together already. And then how is this mounted? Yeah, there's a part in the middle here. I'm also missing this part. Oh no, my webcam froze again. Uh-oh. That's a classic. Like, it's always around the same time, like around like 9:15. Okay, well, now it's crappy webcam. That's what you got. Get now. Crappy webcam it is. I need to figure out why it like stops, because we never had that problem like before with the V0 builds. Okay, so we need this part here as well. Find it in the browser. Body 42. Okay, yeah, 42 is the answer. Okay, that's a bit weird. So this tells us there's another part basically that goes in here, and then that goes against the block. I mean, if I look at this, it makes sense. But there's something missing. Like, there are no holes here in this part that line up with the block. So there must be like the part missing that holds that together, and then like those kind of like screw into that part. So that's missing. And then those basically, I mean, we can connect those 2 together already. It's something we can do. Not sure if that makes sense, but if it's a 30 looks a little bit short. Yeah, it's definitely short, so it must be a 40. But then for M340, we only got 3. Yeah, it's M340. But we only got 3 of the M340s. And we need 2 for the tensioning system. So it's definitely also something we are missing. More and more stuff turns out missing. This doesn't want to go in. Everything is a hammer. something to hammer on. We can also just heat it up a bit. Here we go. Okay, so this at least comes together. And there's a third one up here. So we're definitely missing those parts. Oh, not parts, those screws. Because there's like 1, 2, 3 here, and those two are basically the parts that hold those clamping parts together that I also don't have. So it's a full success. Let's see if we find this part and maybe those clamping thingies. But then basically I also need M3 by 40 screws. Every tool's a hammer. Yeah. It's the most universal tool you can have. Let's see, I don't think I have 40s. I have 28s. I have M3 by 34. Or we need 40. Those short. Oh, I might have. This is my good luck bucket. It has everything you need. Whenever you need something, it's in there. At least that's what I tell myself. And I think on the bottom of that, that's more than 40. It would work. It would work. Yeah, 3. Okay, we can use those. I can shorten them at that. These screws have a story. And I'm very happy that this makes me happy. This is the best day of my life that I can use those screws. So when I was building my gaming PC in 2015, I needed I basically have a water cooling system, and I had like a I'm not sure what it's called in English. In German, it's Vorkammer. It's like a pre-chamber. So basically a radiator, and then there's like a spacer before the radiator, which allows the fan to increase air pressure. But yeah, I need like very long screws because they need to be fancy. I wanted to have black screws. And I went to a local hardware store, and I got 8 of those like screws. And these 8 screws cost me 25 euros, which is complete madness. But I was just happy that I got them. But yeah, it was like so each of those screws is basically 2 euros. Or like, this is roughly the same value. The motor and the screws. So I'm very happy that I can use them. And they're black, so amazing. And then the only thing we need to do is we need to shorten them a tad. I think we could also use black. I have black. I also have black M3 nut, I think. Yeah, I have. Let's make it pretty. 2.5. One black one. Let's use normal ones. I'm too lazy to pick that up. Cool. Okay. So it's basically my off-stream task is then to shorten them by like a centimeter, I guess. But they will do a fabulous job here. And then we have enough screws for everything. Yeah, but here is another thing that's missing in the kit. And I'm fairly certain that the revision 1 has pretty much the same setup there. Oh, that's the nut that doesn't come out. Won't come out anymore. There we go. This goes in here. Just for demo purposes. I'm putting it just together for demo purposes. And that goes in here. Okay, cool. I mean, like, minus the way too long screws. But that will work. Yeah. I mean, the screws will interfere. So that we need to shorten them, but we can use them. Which is the important part. Great. Then we still miss some printed parts. So let's investigate the printed parts. This is self-burner stuff, so that's definitely not it. Empty bags. That's only M4 extruder, so that's also not in here. That's a cable dart. No, it's not a part I'm missing. And I also remember we had issues installing that. Oh, I was also missing parts. But I forgot to print them. Oh god. Okay. Then, to be honest, it seems to be then the end of today's story. I mean, we can still swap out those. We didn't do that yet. We'll quickly do that. But then we hit the missing parts roadblock in every direction. Which is curious. Like, I'm usually quite diligent with printing stuff. Making sure I have everything I need. So I'm a bit surprised that I'm missing like so many things. But again, yeah, that comes back to that ballistic tech, right? Like a quote unquote like normal Voron printer and some mod. Where you like piece together everything yourself. Way easier to just miss something. But let's quickly do some research where those parts are that are missing. I would at least know where I get them from. I mean, I can export them from Fusion, of course. Okay. The stack is lost. Shim, washer, bearing, shim, bearing, washer. Is that the correct stack? Yep. That's the correct stack. So, see if that goes together. I know I'm not showing it on camera, I'm sorry. Okay, so those are swapped out. Then this can go to the trash. All of those. That don't need. Okay. Still not sure where those go. It's a surprise. So here's the thing. So technically this part I can export from Fusion. I assume it's the same part. That was why it wasn't integrated in my parts list, because where do I have that? 1 second. One second, let me find that. So this part comes from here, from the BLTouch. This is the part we're looking at, which also like misses heated inserts that I now see. So now the thing is, I just took what is here as an X left and right. That's why I'm missing the middle part. So it's just basically the same, I assume. That's why it's not included here. And then kind of like slipped through the net. Okay. Let's collect all the parts we are missing. So that we can like make sure that everything is nice. Let's see. So in Fusion. Oh, sorry, I wasn't showing the browser. Sorry, my bad. So here, this is like the web page, or like the GitHub repository where I got my stuff from, like the BLTouch. And here we only have the left and right carriage, but like not the middle part. So yeah, and you see like here this red part shining through, and that's what we are missing. So we can just directly export that, this part here, find in browser, and then we can just say save as mesh, and then we just directly export it to Crucial Slicer. So it's one part we are missing, but we are missing more, right? We are also missing these. So let's do the same. And that we need twice. Let me just make sure to keep track of everything. So this one we need twice. What else were we missing? Have you ever tried sending straight to slicer? Someone mentioned they prefer to saving out to file. I'm always saving straight to the slicer. Again, I still didn't fix my screen capture here, but all you do is like you select the component or the body in the file tree that you just imagine the file tree being here, and then you just do right click, save as mesh. It's the same. And then you can say output send to 3D printing utility. You just set the checkbox, and then you say custom, and then you select whatever your slicer is. And it directly pops up in Prusa Slicer for me. There's no problem whatsoever. It's all. I always do it like that. Works really well. So there was more we are missing. We are missing so much. We are also missing this weird part here. That's why we couldn't install the keyback replacement yet. Yeah, good to know. Yeah, that's really like, it's the best workflow ever. It's also like when you iterate, like you do something in Fusion, and then I've saved it in Prusa and I slice it, and then you can just like check the layers and everything's like nicely printable. And if that's not the case, then it's very quick to like just like export it again. It's like really, really efficient workflow. Okay. What else were we missing? We were also missing this part here for sure. And it's like, again, like I diverted from the like proper thing, and I have like an alternative, and then I missed like half the parts to print. Actually, I'm not sure if this is the proper part we need here. Let's quickly check it out. So like next time we have everything we need. Really good. So this is my keyback. I cheaped out. Because keyback was like 30 bucks, and I was like, yeah, that's maybe not. Because like the entire cost was like 330 or something, around that. So like the keyback was like 10% of the entire price. I was like, yeah, maybe not. This was the alternative that was suggested. It does pretty much the same thing, but I assume we will need a little bit like a different holder for the end. I do have a different mount for it, like to mount it to the printer, but we definitely need to check the holder part. And this is actually from the same repository. Yeah, exactly, here it is. So this part here comes from AliExpress. It's like €2. It's super cheap. And then yeah, you see this is like how it's mounted. And here's the top part. Also, okay, so there's no printed part involved. So it's really just like screwed down with those two screws. This also looks pretty much what I have, like here with this loop. So that seems to be okay. And let's quickly check if that looks like it would work. So that would be those two here. Yeah, that works perfectly. That works perfectly. So we can just directly like screw it down there with like the washer, just how they show it. I mean, maybe it would be nice to have a printed part here, just to make it like, you know, nice. Technically, like you can just have one screw here, right? And just hang it on the one screw, maybe the bottom one. Because like there's tension upwards, so it's really all it needs. So that's fine. By the way, ballistic deck. I think you missed the beginning of the stream, but we now have this like really like cool like plate here. Wait. This is like basically the cable from the heater pad go in here directly. And then there are like two Wagos on the bottom. And then the extension cable run through the chain and go then under deck here. It's like a really cool setup, I think. Because like for me, the cables were like, they basically ended right here. Like at the end of the cable chain, like the ender cables were just like gone. No more cable left. Yeah, cool. But I guess then I will make sure to print that. And then I think that would be the end. I mean, technically we could start. We could start putting a M4 extruder together. Maybe that would be fun. Oh, let's stop here. I think that's a good. We made a lot of progress today. Also, show the bottom again, because we also did some work. Ooh, everything's falling apart. We did some work here. We have mainboards installed. And we have a cable channel, which I think is quite cool. Yeah. Oh, those parts also have to reprint. Okay, good that this fell down. But yeah, we have those like handy cable channels, you know? And then like basically yeah, you see, cables go in, cables go out. And we have those covers, which are held in place by the bottom panel. And then like on the sides, there's a little bit of space so we can have our LEDs. Because we need LEDs, of course. Yeah, but I guess that was quite successful. Ballistic Tech, in case you rewatch, and you want to see how not to use super glue, I can show you how not to use super glue in the beginning of the stream. That was genius in action. Whew, cool. Okay, then I guess. Oh yeah, also the webcam. I have to figure out what's going on there. It's since I updated to iOS 17, like it's crapping out after some time. Potentially it's just some iOS 17 bug. Yeah, cool, but a lot of progress. Not as much as I hoped for, as always, but step by step we're getting it done. It's quite crazy. Like, I mean, like all the streams I do are like 3.5, 4 hours, I guess. And now it's like 3:40. And now this is like part 4 already for the printer. The Switchwire is supposed to be the easy one. It's quite quick to build. And I remember, like, I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it was like Nero or somebody did like a Switchwire in one session build. Yeah. Not for me. Not for me. That's not going to happen. Yeah, but step by step, it's getting there. Oh yeah, that's also a good reminder. I need more of the hammerhead, not M3. I need to order them because I had to remove the ends, like not end stop, but like the end position stop thingy for the linear rails. For why? Because we ran out of those. So definitely have to order more of them. Yep. So that is also something we need to do. Cool. Okay. So printing, ordering, and then I thought we would do the belts last stream. Now we didn't do them this stream. So maybe next stream we do the belts. Step by step. Okay. Cool. Then thanks everyone for tuning in, and see you next week. Have a nice Sunday. Bye.